Anywhere there's action, these two aren't far behind. Todd Fuhrman, Tim Doyle in the fold with their winning wagers. Let's begin on South Beach, guys. Heat given 7.5, totals 219. TD, Heat were plus 24 on threes in game one, but level footing in twos and free throws. Do they live or die by the long ball here again on Tuesday night?
That's interesting you say that, right? Because Duncan Robinson made 8 threes, and they ended up winning by 24 points. It was all Heat in game number one, but Todd, it looked like a little bit of a hangover there for Atlanta after an emotional win at Cleveland. And hey, South Beach, hangover, hey, I've been there before. You know what I'm saying? Cleveland there, maybe I'm dancing out there. I got the zinc on my nose. I expect a bit of a bounce back here. 7.5 points in a playoff game is a lot of points to land. If you go through the regular season, Todd, there was a ton of close matchups between these two teams. Trae Young is not going to make just one field goal in this spot. What I do worry about is what I worried about when I was 25 in South Beach. Did these guys sulk there on A1A and party and while they were waiting around for the next game? I hope not. I hope they get that partying out of their system and they come out with a stronger performance. I just thought it was a bit of a letdown performance after finally getting into the playoffs against Miami in game number one. I expect a better performance here. Give me the dog.
I agree with you, Tim. I think when you look at it, that was much a byproduct of a scheduling loss as anything else. When Atlanta had to go on the road, not win just one game, but 2 games, especially to get to this point in the postseason. And they looked flat right from the opening tip. Credit to Miami. They made life miserable for Trae Young from the opening tip, holding him to 1 of 12 from the floor. I agree completely with Tim. I think the Atlanta Hawks regress on the offensive side, and Miami's going to have to score as much as they were able to do in game one, which leads me to a bet on the total going over at 219. I look at the way Miami shot the ball, and while I don't think Duncan Robinson is going to go 8 of 9 from deep for every game in this series, I do think Miami's going to have an opportunity to shoot 35 to 40% from beyond the arc, but I expect Atlanta to be a little bit better offensively and to push the Heat from start to finish. Look, Miami didn't shy away from saying the key to success for us is making Trae Young work for absolutely everything at the offensive end. Bumping him, being physical, using some of the veterans that they have available on the perimeter. Trae's got to be as much a facilitator in this spot if he's going to get open looks. And I think Atlanta will come in with a better game plan. They know they can play a little freer and easier given the disappointing performance in game one. And I think this game goes over the total. I'm surprised odds makers haven't adjusted this up a little bit, knowing that both these teams come in on equal rest.
All right, so Todd praying for points in this one. Let's take a look at some player props, guys, because Trae Young specifically here left to stew over that 8.1 field goal performance. We know he's going to try and come out and maybe make a point here early on against the Heat. He sort of welcomes that role of villain, and perhaps it'll fuel him here. But, Todd, you're taking us a different direction with your player prop.
Yeah, I am, Joe. But when you look at Trae Young, I think the points prop for him in tonight's game, it's a fair reflection of what we expect him to contribute on the offensive end. So not a lot of value with a ton of these superstars when you get into this juncture of the season. I did toy with the idea of going over 8.5 assists for Trae Young, as I think he's got an excellent chance to achieve a double-double. But there's going to have to be somebody else in this Atlanta Hawks roster that steps up if Trae Young isn't scoring 40. And I think it's Kevin Huerter from the outside. When you look at how he played in the 2 play-in games, he scored 13 points in each of those games. Didn't shoot the ball exceptionally well, only 3 of 8, 2 of 6 from deep in game one of the series. But if Miami is going to allocate all of their energy on the defensive end and taking away Trae Young's ability to score, look for some of those secondary options to raise their level of play. And John Collins isn't capable of logging 35 to 40 minutes yet. We saw him come off the bench for his first action in 19 games. I think Huerter can be the guy if he knocks down 3 or 4 triples. He finds a way to get an open look or two inside the paint. I'm going to go over 11.5 for the sharpshooter.
I was having a good day until you mentioned Huerter, because Kevin Huerter's dad, Tommy Huerter, played against my brother Dan when Dan was at Iona. Tommy Huerter was at Siena, and he made the most impossible half-court shot to tie up a max semifinal game. And you want to know why I remember him, Fuhrman? Because he had the mullet like you do. I see the hockey hair sticking out.
I got a little bit of the hockey flow, Timmy. It's just in time for the playoffs. I got to grow it out.
And Huerter's dad, not only did he have the mullet, but he also had a bad 80s stash that didn't get shaved until way into the 2000s. I like that pick. What I always find funny about Kevin Huerter, I still think he's the only NBA player that does not shave his face. I'm going to go Trae over. Todd likes over for the game, which I like. You know what I mean? He expects a lot of points. And you got to think this is a bounce-back effort. Last time he played Miami, Well, he had 35 points. How did he do against Cleveland in the playing game? Well, he had 38 points. So I'm just going to when you go to the track and you see a poor performance, once in a while you just got to draw a line through it and move on. I'm going to draw a line through game number 1. It was a letdown game. They got whacked. I think there's a bounce back effort, and I expect Trey to have a big performance.
We'll see if Trey can get out in stride. Let's take a look at those picks once again from our sharps when it comes to the Hawks and the Heat. Tim Doyle taking those 7.5 points, expects a close game, maybe a Heat win, but 7.5 too many in the playoffs to pass up. Trae Young over his 25.5, a regression back to the mean there, and that is, yes, a regression, even when you're coming back up to the number at the mean, or so the mathematicians tell us. Todd Fuhrman playing the game over the 219, and it's Kevin Huerter over his 11.5.
Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.